Hi, I'm Samantha Mask, and here is my AAC device presentation. ISee Social Understanding Communication Aid. So here you see the ISee frames. So the ISee frames, this is a handy device that is specifically used to aid individuals who struggle with understanding social communication. So they have a hard time understanding expressions in others. They have a hard time understanding appropriate eye contact, appropriate tone, and how to pick up that these signals are inappropriate in the reactions of the person they are communicating with. This is specifically aimed towards individuals who are on the spectrum, so autism spectrum disorder, ASD, or other individuals who struggle with understanding or expressing proper social communication. So here we see the ISee frames. So these are the features. So first, the frames or the main feature would be the frames themselves. So they're a lightweight plastic frame that can come in the basic design that you see here, or you can choose one of the many stylish design options. They also come with lenses that can be translucent, or they can also be customized for actual lens prescriptions provided by your vision healthcare provider. And then lastly is the camera. So each pair of frames comes with a camera that is installed with facial recognition software. The camera also has Bluetooth connection that will automatically sync to a device that has the ISee app installed. How this works, so when a wearer approaches someone or is approached by an individual for communication, the camera will automatically begin to scan someone's face as long as they are within 3 feet of the wearer for 10 or more seconds. This device is very easy to use, so it automatically works. All you have to do, have the device on your face. Person comes within 3 feet of you, stands there for 10 seconds or longer. The camera automatically begins to scan their face. And then as it scans their face, it will automatically upload data collected to the app via the Bluetooth connection. And then the individual wearing the device will have the app in front of them, and then they can view the app at their leisure as they communicate to get feedback on their social communication. So again, super easy to use, very kid friendly. Once a student is introduced to the device and the application, they can use this device virtually adult free. No adult supervision required. So the app itself. Again, the device to be used appropriately needs to also have an app downloaded to a student's personal device. Okay. So again, when you open the app, there are some options that are not connected to the glasses or camera themselves. One of those is the expression menu. So the expression menu comes with a variety of emotional options. So if an individual struggles with how to appropriately show their emotions through things such as facial expressions, they can go to the expressions menu, choose one of the emotions that they may be currently feeling, and then they will then see the preloaded images on the device for appropriate facial expressions for whichever emotion that they choose. Also, for devices that have their own built-in camera, you can customize these images. So if parents or teachers would like to upload pictures of themselves making appropriate facial expressions for certain emotions, they can use the camera to do that and then upload these pictures under each emotion. Okay. So again, that would be for parents who feel more comfortable with their child viewing pictures of people they are more comfortable with, or with children who would respond more appropriately or would be more comfortable with images of people who they are familiar with. Okay. The app is also connected to the camera and will give you real-time facial analysis within social communications. So again, how this works, as the wearer has the device on, the camera will automatically begin to scan another individual's face whenever they are within 3 feet of the wearer for 10 seconds or longer. Throughout the communication, the device will continue to scan the other person's face. As it does so, via the Bluetooth connection, it will upload its results in real time to the application on the wearer's device. So the wearer will then view their device. They can see, like, for example, here, this is a sample of if you were communicating with someone and they are getting bored. Okay, so it will show you, warning, this person is getting bored, thumbs down, this is not a good thing. And then it will also offer up recommendations based on the data, the results it's collecting, of what you could do to possibly improve or continue the social interaction that you're having. So, like, for example, here we see person is bored. The options, you could change the subject, plan to end the conversation, or let them add to the conversation. So the wearer would then choose one of the options, and then that would reset the data, and the camera would begin to then scan the person as this new option is tried. And then again, it would send even more data to show how is this interaction working. When the conversation is finished, so after the individual leaves, is no longer within 3 feet of the wearer, or is not staying there for a minimum of 10 seconds, the app will then calculate the overall communication assessment. So how did the communication go? So it will calculate the overall results, and also it will generate suggestive feedback for scores below 80%. So we'll give you a suggestion of, next time you might want to try these things. We noticed that the person seemed to be bored. You might want to try to add more interesting, what it will just, again, depending on the data collected for each particular circumstance, it will offer up suggestive feedback for future interactions if you scored below 80%. And this is excellent for students who have communication goals within their IEPs. Teachers could use this device to document progress towards reaching said goal. So the inspiration for this app came because, for my personal background, I am an 8th grade resource or inclusion teacher, which means I have very limited experience with nonverbal students. Most of my students are very high functioning. They are verbal. They do not have issues with verbal communication, so they do not need the typical AAC devices. However, I still have several students who often struggle with communication. So, and again, if we go into my research that I did on AAC devices, I found that most AAC devices are geared towards individuals who are nonverbal, people who cannot express themselves with verbal communication. However, the definition of AAC devices, as noted in our text, says a set of tools and strategies that an individual uses to solve everyday communicative challenges. My students have communicative challenges. However, it is not with verbal expression per se. It is with appropriate verbal expression or understanding someone else's verbal and nonverbal expressions. So again, further research, I looked into students with ASD. I used Autism Speaks, which is an excellent resource for information on students on the spectrum. And I found that students on the spectrum have lots of difficulty with both verbal and nonverbal communication. They often struggle with, spoken language is sometimes a struggle. Some ASD students cannot speak verbally. However, that only represents 33% of the population. A large majority of the population are verbal. They can communicate with their words. However, they still have many struggles with communication other than verbal communication. So they often struggle with using appropriate gestures, understanding gestures of others, understanding or using appropriate eye contact, understanding or using appropriate facial expressions, understanding or using appropriate tone of voice, and also understanding expressions not meant to be taken literally, which thus led to my idea of creating the ISee app that would help students who do have verbal communication but often struggle with using appropriate verbal communication or struggle with understanding the nonverbal cues seen in others when interacting verbally. Now, in comparison, one thing that you could compare my ISee device to would be the Google Glass device. However, my device takes Google Glass a step farther. So with Google Glass, there have been research studies in the past where Google Glass was implemented with something very similar with ASD students and helping understand expressions in others. However, that is not what Google Glass was created for. Google Glass was just created as an overall smart device that can help analyze the visual aspects of the wearer, which can include facial recognition software, which can help in facial recognition of or recognition of facial expressions. But again, Google Glass was not designed for that purpose. It was just seen that it could be implemented in that area. So my device is specifically designed to aid in helping individuals like those on the ASD spectrum with understanding those nonverbal cues seen in people you're communicating with, and also not just that, helping the individual know how to respond appropriately to those cues. So again, Google Glass and ISee, things they have in common. So Google Glass and ISee both, they have the advanced facial recognition software. They have both been used in aiding individuals with how to recognize emotions seen with facial expressions. But where Google Glass does not continue to help, Google Glass does not provide suggestions for social interactions for the wearer. It does not provide references for appropriate facial expressions for the wearer. It does not analyze the social communication success rates of the wearer. And it also does not provide suggestive feedback for future social interactions. However, the ISee is specifically designed to do all of those things. Also, the ISee has a much less intrusive design. So, people who are familiar with individuals with ASD know that they often struggle with sensory issues. So, overstimulation. Yes, social interaction is a big struggle with ASD individuals. However, sensory overload and sensory overstimulation is also another very big aspect of autism. So, Google Glass, the design itself is not really a good design for individuals with ASD because of that aspect. So if you notice, it has a camera and a lens that actually puts up a screen in front of the viewer at all times. So even though the screen seems really small, because of the proximity to the wearer's actual eyeball, the screen actually seems very large and would pretty much take up their whole line of vision for that eye. For individuals with ASD, this could be very overstimulating. However, the ISee does not have this. The camera is never within their line of vision. It does not automatically put a screen with the data right in front of their face. The data is uploaded to an application on their own handheld device, which they can view at their own leisure. Okay, so again, Google Glass, very, very intrusive to the wearer. Okay, this could be very overstimulating for an individual with ASD versus the ISee never does this. The individual doesn't even have to really notice that the camera is there, and they can view their application with the data that is collected whenever they find most appropriate. Now, the price point for ISee. So there are different options. For the ISee, the standard option is $500. This includes the basic frame, which is seen in the images provided earlier, translucent lenses, a standard left leg camera, and then the standard ISee application subscription, which never ends, but it does not include any app updates that would have to be purchased at a later date by the company or institution buying the ISee application and software. The custom option starts around $650 and just can increase depending on the customization choices. So the $650 includes just the basic choice of a few of the bottom of the line designer frames, the normal translucent lenses. However, again, increasing the price, there is an option to get your custom prescription lenses. So if you wear glasses to help correct your vision, you can provide ISee with your prescription for each lens, and those can be purchased to be included in the frames. Also, if you do not like the left leg alignment of the camera, you can pay to customize to be moved to the right. And also, the customization option automatically comes with an unlimited ISee app subscription that automatically covers any updates that are made at a later date after your purchase. So again, custom options start at $650, but just increase depending on the customization choices that you purchase. So due to the high price point, there are offers that the ISee Corporation provides. So they have an education special. So for educational institutions or organizations that purchase, they can get a 25% discount off of their total price. Also, there is a buying in bulk discount. So when you purchase 25 or more frames, you get 5% off each pair. And both the education special and buying in bulk can be combined together. And also some non-ISee Corporation offers. So for individuals who choose to get the custom prescription option, you can apply the frames and lenses to your participating insurance vision coverage. And again, whatever your vision coverage offers, you can have that then applied to the price of the frames and lenses. And also, federal grants for AAC devices can be applied to cover the cost of the ISee frames and software. However, the ISee frames and software is not available for individual purchase. So this must be purchased as a bulk, not necessarily a bulk order, but you have to have more than one item purchased. And again, the price point just gets better the more you purchase. And so, for example, parents cannot just go to ISee's website and order a pair of these glasses. But if parents are interested in their child being able to keep this device and these frames outside of school, they can work with their school organization to pay the cost of their child's individual glasses. So how this would work, the school would create an order for the ISee frames and application, and then they would be given the appropriate codes to download their subscription of the app onto the different devices that they choose to upload the app to. And so then the frames themselves, for the customized orders, they would, for each frame they would like to order, there will be a separate order form that they would fill out with the specific details. Parents who are wishing to order certain specific frames with specific prescription lenses would provide that information to their school, including their insurance information, which would then be, the school would then apply to that specific order. However, all of them would be put together as in one big order overall price, but they will get an itemized receipt that would tell them how much each individual frame or set cost, and then they could then share that with the parents who could pay their school institution that price point, and then the schools could then decide to allow the parents and the student to keep the device outside of school. However, this would not be done through the ISee Corporation. So any purchasing must be made through the educational institution or the overall business institution in a overall order. And then if individual people would like to keep these devices, they would then work with the organization that made the initial purchase to, again, pay for the cost of that one specific frame or device. Again, this would all be done through the organization purchasing, not through the ISee Corporation. All references used in the research for creating this project are found here. So the class text and then autismspeak.org. Thank you.